And we're back. What's going on, bro?
Hey, hey,
Brown Juice Barbershop back in the building.
the place to be.
Yeah, particularly during this time. You know what I mean? It's, in
Man,
some cases, this is the only way you get into the barbershop, you know? That's why I got my hat on.
I I know it. They keep calling me Grady, man.
I hear that, man. I
Woo.
hear that. How you been, though? How's the week going? How's everything treating you?
The week is going fine. I've been doing this little thing with like pulling my guy kids on screen, giving their parents a 20-minute break.
Mm.
I got this little thing I do. I don't want to say it because it's fun. I saw it online, and it's fun to do with them and just have the kids like woo, and it's easy. It's not so messy, and just trying to spend time with the little people.
That's
Like
what's
get
up,
the
man.
ingredients, get a glass, and we're gonna do this.
That's
And
what's up.
we just have a little fun. That's it.
I appreciate that. And I wonder, I'm gonna save this question. I'm gonna save the question because I think it's an important question. Because I'll have to talk about. I'll save the question, but I think that's dope. I think that's really dope, and the fact that they have that opportunity is fantastic too.
Yeah.
This week has been. How has this week been? This week has been. I think this week has been good. I mean,
Good.
it hasn't been one that is like marked with so many things that's been eventful, to my knowledge. But I'm just happy that I'm still maintaining, sustaining, keeping it going, doing what I can, helping where I can, being what I can. So yeah, things have been good, man.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I've been in my need for speed. I've
Mm,
been taking rides on what I call my urban city mountains.
mm,
I get on a bike and I go over the bridges
okay.
out of off Manhattan into Brooklyn. And it's a climb. Those bridges are no joke. And
Mm,
I'm on a city bike, and them city bikes are heavy, so they don't
ooh,
go that fast.
mhm.
So I've been doing that, and that's really my just I'm moving, because just I'm walking back and forth across the apartment or running to the market, but I feel a need to just go someplace a little different. So I've been doing that, and that's been really helpful. Been really helpful because I don't know about you, but are you dreaming?
That's a good question. No,
Really?
I don't think I am.
Are you not remembering, or you don't think you're dreaming?
That's a good. You know what? I feel like I might have just had a dream for the first time in a long time, maybe
Wow.
last week. But it's funny that you mentioned it because for some reason I thought to myself, I was like, "Am I dreaming?" And it's because we're not seeing as much that we usually see, or we're
Yep.
not interacting with people as much. That's a good question that you asked, but I don't think I've been because I know there's times where you forget dreams, you're not thinking about you dreaming, but there are times where I even have lucid dreams where like I wake up and I know I'm like, "Oh, what's going on?" I'm like, "Okay, I'm cool." But I don't think I've had those. Yeah, that's a good question, man.
I have been having intense. I've had dreams I woke up and like, yo, who wrote that script? Whose idea was that? Like that's I wasn't ready for that. That was a bit much. Like I've been having incredible. And there's been research saying that because our minds are not as stimulated as they usually are, and our activities, our interactions are cut back, that our brain is like, well, we got to do something,
Mm,
and so it pulls a dream. But maybe because you're not living alone, that could be one part of it. You're having constant contact
that's true.
interactions. I don't know.
That's very true. But there's something to think about too, and be a little bit more mindful and cognizant of because, yeah, because I can't remember why, but something in my brain and triggered my brain. I was like, when's the last time I really like had a dream?
Wow.
Yeah, but just think about sleep too, because schedules are different. You don't
Oh,
have
yeah.
to wake up the same time you usually wake up, but I still find myself waking up early.
Oh, completely.
Um,
Very early.
and just thinking about that, so it's like, yeah, it's interesting. Thank you for that question because I'm gonna have to think about that a little bit more, so a little bit more
Yeah.
conscious.
Yeah. Our readjustment back to the world post all of this is going to be 1010. I was thinking it the other day. You ever see that video where the woman is like dancing to Percolator? It's no the black woman and she's just like going like
I
down for the
haven't seen it.
percolator, down for the percolator. I was like,
Okay.
everybody's gonna be doing that dance at every party when it starts. The dance floor is gonna be packed the whole time. Like, what? I don't even know what song it is. Go.
Mhm.
Uh, you know?
It's coming out. Post Rona.
Right,
That's how it's gonna be.
right. Okay. So let's dig into this. We got too
Sir,
excited.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I see it. Listen, we got the fashion going. This is a Brown Juice Barbershop first.
Yes, yes. I see the chapeau.
we got a hat on, you know what I mean? And this is again my boy Nasheed, Team Savage. You know, that's his silhouette with his beard, etc.
Oh, wait, get a little close, get a little closer. What old man? Team Savage. That's beautiful with the beard. Come on, that's beautiful. That's great.
Just representing one of his many dad hats that he's got going on. You know, and then the shirt is just regular. You know, I think in the sun it might shimmer a little bit. Just a little Nike shirt with a little robot on it. You know,
just do it. Just do it.
Feeling fresh and crisp. You know.
There you go.
What you rocking, brother?
I'm celebrating, you know, summer's finest film festival. It's the Martha's Vineyard's African American Film Festival, which I was hoping to apply to, but which of course is going hold and potentially postponed. Who knows what'll happen? I have a new film coming that's
Tell us about
free. Did I tell you about the screening coming up this week?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah. So new film coming out. We're just trying to roll it out on a small platform digitally just to get people engaged and have a conversation, see what they like. But it's been accepted to a few film festivals, but that's all on hold right now because we can't gather for a film festival. But this festival is really something special. You know, it's in Martha's Vineyard. It's a really particular kind of crowd. It's blackety black, but it's that Martha's Vineyard, Inkwell, blackety black universe. Not but, and it's that universe. So it's a whole lot going on, you know. And if you ever get a chance, it just feels good to be in the space. Like you're watching all this beautiful stuff. When I was there, the first time I went, they showed the first episode of the new edition BET series. Remember that one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So imagine being in that room at Martha's Vineyard's African American Film Festival, having a premiere of it was the best.
Can't even imagine. That's dope, man. That's dope. That's definitely dope.
So yeah, I'm just rocking the shirt. It's happens every summer. It's very successful. Run by two people who they're really brilliant, wonderful, good folks. And so I had a film in it, I think last summer, and I got this shirt there last summer. Good festival.
Okay, dope. Okay, so you got the shirt, you know, rocking the fashion, just total swag. You got the video coming out. What are we toasting to? I know we're going to toast to your video, but better question is, what we toasting with?
Yeah, exactly. Brother? Right. Let's get there. So I am back in the Maker's Mark universe. I'm very Kentucky bourbon whiskey.
Yes, sir.
So, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, just to get it nice and clean, clear. What you got?
I got some more bottom shelf. I won't necessarily call it royalty, but bottom shelf gold. You know what I mean? So whenever I want to make a good mixed drink, and sometimes I might not have the Evan Williams handy, and other times this is because this is cheaper than the Evan Williams, but also has higher proof. Not sure if you're familiar with this friend of mine, but it's Ezra Brooks.
Oh my goodness, Ezra got me. I'm stuck on Ezra's. I'm like, that's gonna be good.
Yeah. So this is one of the things I go to. Like, if you don't have the Evan Williams, you can get some Ezra Brooks because it's higher alcohol proof, which makes a stronger drink or a cocktail. And it's good. It's pretty good.
Okay. Beautiful. Well, I'm gonna pour me some
into it, man. There you go. Brown gold, man.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
Well, shout out to you, brother, making moves out here with your new film. Let's go to that. Tell folks the name of it again.
It's called Virtually Free, and it's about incarcerated teenagers in Richmond, Virginia. And I'm trying to bring to the front a conversation about what it means to incarcerate teenagers. We got to work on that.
Thank you for doing that work.
Hey.
Toast to it and to its success, because I know it's going to be successful because you're successful and you always make things happen, brother. So toast to you and Virtually Free.
I'm here to stand by you, man.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, hello, Maker's Mark. Maker's Mark is a lie. Maker's Mark is a lie. It lies to you. Maker's Mark and Jack Daniels are two people that tell you lies in your ears the whole time. You could do it. You could do that. Come on. You could do that. You could take him. All that stuff. It's like, no.
That liquid courage?
Exactly. They amplify the courage. amplify the courage.
It gives you the spirit of the Black Panther.
Exactly. I can make that leap. I can do it. I can do it. I know. No, don't make the leap. Don't make the leap. That's great.
Well,
So,
I wanted to ask you a question because when you were talking about how your week was, it really kicked up a question for me. So I think about how sometimes, you and I often talk about the interesting upbringing we had
mhm.
and how we had a number of different people who raised us, different environments that molded us, shaped who we are. Are you finding that this moment during COVID-19 is not only enabling you, but in some cases forcing you to bridge the gap if you have one, or further connect or strengthen your connections and deepen those connections with your loved ones that you might not necessarily get a chance to talk to often? Is it like really getting you out to connect with your friends and your family, etc., providing space for that? I want to know what that's doing for you because I know I have seen some things. I want to know about you.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. And I go right to my sister. My sister and I, she even said it. She's like, yo, we haven't talked this much in years.
Hmm.
Just like checking in. How you doing? What's happening?
Hmm.
What's going on? What you doing? We think about this. This happened. Really just digging into a lot more constant contact. We're talking last night because I was getting some advice about trying to figure out if I should put make a beef stew in the cook pot at midnight so I can have for lunch, or should I do it in the morning and have for dinner? Like really from that all the way to how you feeling still being home.
Mm.
Talking through, because we had a talk where she thought she would get furloughed in her company.
Mm.
Her company relies on public events and spaces, and she luckily did not. But it was a moment before, like, what are you gonna do? What happens? What happens? How's it gonna work? So it's been yeah, a lot of conversations, a lot of digging into conversations, which are powerful. And then on the friendship tip, yeah, man, like having like multiple hour conversation with folks you haven't talked to in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's up? I was thinking about you. How you doing? And like in 2 hours later, you're like, wow, why haven't we been talking?
Mm-hmm.
I talked to someone last night, a woman I knew from high school, and we kicked it for like 2.5 hours straight, just talking and talking and talking, and all kinds of like and powerful moments, not just like, oh, walking down the street, like really like I'm going to search for identity in myself. What does that mean? And how I'm connected with my family. I'm reserving my need. Like, oh, it's really deep stuff. So yes, I really find that I think it's a moment of what I was thinking about that because after that call with her, I was like, why did we have such an intense conversation? Why have I had a few intense conversations like that? I think it's a moment of we're all we got. All the stuff, the money, the houses, the clothes, all that stuff is like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But human interaction and intimacy and connections, I think, are giving folks some what we need. And we're not inundated with people all day long by bumping into them in the halls.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe our minds are like a bit more freed up and open. I'll finish by saying this. I also been thinking about letter writing, because back in a time before there was like a Twitter or email or Instagram, so Facebook, etc., all the things, to be in touch with someone, you really had to write them a letter and like wait for it and hope and think like, did they get it? Did they get it? You get a letter like, oh, I guess I got it, in that powerful moment. So yeah, definitely deeper connections that I've been thinking about. And my thought is, I hope these are maintained afterwards. And it's not just a momentary lapse, a momentary fix, I should say, not lapse.
That's real. That's
yeah.
Real.
How about you? Have you been finding that?
Yeah, man. I mean, the thing that you just said last really hit home too. Like, I do hope these things are maintained and sustained because I remember the first conversation we had on this platform, when you asked me, like, what am I learning about myself during this time? And I talked a little bit more about how I've been more so in contact with my family, whether it's via phone, whether it's FaceTime, etc. Like, in this moment, like you, whether it's my sister, whether it's my mother, I mean, I FaceTime my grandmother Like these things are the stuff that's happening because of this moment. So
Yeah.
really thinking about that, being reflective of that, and thinking about how sometimes you need to be sat down and unplugged from other distractions in order for you to really focus on what's important. Because like you said, we're all we got, right? We have to get back to basics, get back to family, get back to building, get back to community, get back to creating that village that we're supposed to have in order for us to raise each other, lean on each other, and be with each other in terms of community. So for me, I'm finding that more and more so. I'm finding that I have opportunities to connect with friends, whether we're doing like happy hours together, whether we're, just connecting for someone's birthday. So there's some times when we're like, you know what, my boy lives in New York City. That's going to be about 2 hours, maybe two and a little bit more with traffic. I'm
Yeah.
not really
Yeah.
trying to go celebrate you on the weekend
Right.
because like there's just more stuff that we have to do. But now we can hop on that call, be a part of the birthday cake cutting ceremony. We can do graduation parties via Zoom. We can do so many things, just be creative, right? So I'm thinking about that piece. And even having conversations, like there's times that you and I get a chance to get together, go have dinner, talk, shoot the breeze, whatever the case may be. But we're able to have conversations every week now
Yeah.
because of this
Yeah.
time, right? And we have
Yeah.
the time and space to do it because it's built in and it's manufactured as such for us to take advantage of that. So to your point, I really do hope these things are maintained. I'm finding it that this is one of the best things about technology. And I feel like we might have overlooked it because again, we're always trying to keep up with the Joneses, or we're trying to do something for likes, or we're trying to do something to push our brand out there. But if we're using it for connection, right? If we're using it not for the media piece, but to be social with each other and
Right.
actually have conversations,
Right.
actually check on each other and have those different conversations and share life developments, etc. This is a beautiful thing. So just really trying, for me as an introvert, for me as a person who's private, for me as a person who's not like rah rah and all this other stuff, like me having the opportunity to have these things in front of me and not having an excuse to like disengage has been helpful. And I feel like that I'll be changed because of it. And I hope that I have to challenge myself to maintain it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's great. That's wonderful. To bring it right to us, I think about that. Like every conversation I had with you prior to doing this has always been like deep and meaningful and a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of our first big ones was one year at a conference we were at, and maybe it was Anaheim, California, and like we were outside of a party. It was a big old party going outside. We just stood outside and talked the whole time.
Nashville.
It was Nashville, yeah, because my foot was all jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember walking away thinking like, wow, that was like an effortless, great like space to be in. I was like, why don't we do that? Why don't we do that? I was talking to a buddy of mine, this friend of mine, he transitioned his life. He got divorced, moved out of New York, moved to Palm Springs, and now is living in LA. And we're just talking yesterday about the power of the human being. All that we have inside of us that we don't tap into and touch and deal with because we're trained not to believe and not to expect and not to experience. And what does it mean if we go, you know what? I have everything that I need. It's all right here. How do I move forward with it? I think part of connecting with people is a way to maximize that, maximize your existence. I'll go so far as to say we're powerful human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about the fact that we're a mechanism that takes in energy in the form of food, air, oxygen, liquid form, and take what we need, gets rid of the rest, and keeps it moving to get the next piece. Like the kinetic space of walking is actually incredible when you really think about it. Like we're a beautiful machine. And if we don't let ourselves get in touch with that, it's amazing to think about how the fact that's not at the front of our minds at every moment.
That's real. That's real. And when we think about it, it goes back to being down to the science. It's like there are things we need as a species in order for us to thrive.
Yeah.
There are things that we need that should not be deprived to us. There are things that we need: social interaction, having conversations, deepening our understanding. We should have those things because we need those things in order for us to grow, survive, and thrive. So I think because there are times when we are pulled outside of our natural habitat, so to speak, because of the things we need to do in order for us to have a livelihood, in order for us to get those things that give us energy, whether it's being able to afford food, whether it's being able to afford self-care, whether it's being able to afford any type of opportunity for you to have a home or have shelter. We don't have to worry about the elements and worry about, there's just so many pieces that we need to get back to where we're saying, you know what, this is why we do what we do.
Right.
And that's really to be in connection with each other and hopefully pour into each other so we can celebrate ourselves as a community, as a human species, as one human race.
Yeah.
And get past the nonsense that often takes us in different places, which
Mm-hmm.
leads to a lot of toxicity, which
Mm-hmm.
leads to a lot of negativity, which leads to a lot of divide. And then all of a sudden we're at each other's throats because we didn't really get back to basics and understand that we're all the same species.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yes, completely. And on that note, in terms of maximizing our potential, if I may, may I go forward with something to pose a question?
Yes.
First, an observation of a moment in time that's happening as we are in these shelter-in-place, world on pause, locked in our spaces, having to find new ways of communicating, existing, and also artists having to find new ways of staying relevant and potentially bringing in more money. The Verzuz universe is blowing up.
My goodness.
And what made me think about it, we had a big one last night.
Oh.
Big one Saturday night, May 23rd, 24th.
23rd.
23rd. We had Bounty Killer versus Beanie Man.
Bounty Killer, yes. Beanie
Man. I don't understand half the words they said, but I was in it. I love it. And it's what made me think about this was I'm still old school. I still turn on the radio once in a while. And I was listening to WBLS. And they had I know, right? New York City, WDAS in Philadelphia, WBLS in New York, something in other places. It's always up above 103 or so, 104. And so they were having, and they were like, yo, we got a Verzuz going on. And I was like, wow, the radio has a Verzuz going on. That's a real moment when the granddaddy has looked at what the son is doing. The granddaddy's doing what the son is doing because that's relevant. And they were doing Run DMC versus Houdini.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. And I was like, oh, okay. And then we had Jill Scott and Badu last week. So question I have for you, because and the Beanie of Bounty Killer was just like a celebration of existence. And these verses are not really verses. It's celebration. And those two were performing incredible. I was a little concerned about social distance. That's another story. They were digging in. And question I have for you is, what are your, I don't know if I want to say your dream or your necessary verses. Name 3 verses that you really think need to happen. That's how I'll say it. What are 3 verses that need to happen?
Wow. Okay. Good question. I'll start by saying this. First and foremost, as they say, I'm not Caribbean. However, by association, on any given day, I am an honorary Haitian because my wife's Haitian, or my brother-in-law, he's Jamaican, so I'm an honorary Jamaican. That's where we honeymoon. That's why I experienced the goodness of jerk pork and rum cream and just paradise, right? So, and I told my wife, I said, listen, honestly, after last night, after that Verzuz, right? After that Verzuz with Bounty Killer and Beanie Man, I was like, listen, honestly, unless my favorite Haitian artist, Michel Martelly, Sweet Mickey, does a Verzuz with somebody, I asked my brother-in-law, I was like, if you'll have me, I want to be Team Jamaican all the way. That's all. If you'll have me. He accepted me. And I know I might be in trouble, but I just wanted to make sure that I have a home. Because we talked about this before. Where are you going to go if you got to get out the country? So now I have 2 spots. I got Jamaica or Haiti. I'm good.
Not bad places to go.
Not bad places to go at all. And there's be all love and great food. So first of all, shout out to Bounty Killer and Beanie Man. Because honestly, aside from the fact that they weren't social distancing and all the other stuff, Although there were people who had masks there, unlike Teddy
Yeah,
Riley
yeah, yeah.
folks. You know what I mean? I think that was hands down probably the best verses I've seen yet.
It was mind blowing. It felt
Because
so good.
it
It felt so
felt good, the energy, and what I did not know, but my brother-in-law put me on because he's Jamaican, right? And he knows more about the culture. He told me that was even huger than what we knew for the culture, because those two were at each other's throats back in the day.
Yeah.
And they really wanted to hurt each other. But together, yeah, they just showed so much love. And they even ended the whole time with the whole One Love piece from Bob Marley.
Right.
But
Right.
talk about like getting back to the call and response and just rapping and freestyling and, you know, really being lyrical over any beat. Doesn't matter what beat came
Right.
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 And back and forth and just perform it. It was beautiful. It was
It was
beautiful.
amazing. It was amazing.
But to your question, brother, to your question, this is what needs to happen, in my opinion. And there's so many others. I've seen some folks who are starting to do gospel folks doing things, etc. But I'm gonna keep it strictly hip hop for right now. What I need to see is this. I need to see Nas and Jay-Z. Bring it back, bring it back, bring it back.
Oh my God.
I need to see Nas and Jay-Z just riff back and forth. And I want them to play Takeover and Supernova. It needs to happen. If I'm Nas, I'm playing Ether. Then I'm playing Major Look. Right? Then I'm playing Got Yourself a Gun. One mic. I know I can. Like, I'm in my bag right there for a little bit.
Right.
I'm like, say something. And then, you know, Jay-Z's going to play all his other tracks and blah, blah. But I think that's one that needs to happen. Needs to happen.
That'll stop the world.
That needs to happen.
The world. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a
needs to happen. If you want to have a battle of Brooklyn, Queen B, Lil Kim. Now we could throw Foxy Brown on there. We could. I don't know if Foxy Brown can hang.
Yeah.
But I want to see Lil Kim versus name your favorite rapper right now who's a female MC.
Boom.
Matter of fact, bring 3.
I know. I was about to say, you could be like, okay, you got the first hour, you got the second hour,
bring 3.
Third hour. And Lil Kim will be like, boom, 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 boom.
Lil Kim will wipe the deck. Like, so Nicki pull up, Cardi B pull up,
Remy Ma pull
up,
Rod
Digger pull up. Like,
oh my God.
I need to see some. I need to see some of that. Like Lil Kim versus somebody. I need Lil Kim when she came back on the I think it was BET Awards when they came back with the Bad Boy like reunion, and she popped out and she just started going.
Yeah. So
Lil Kim versus send whomever. Yeah, don't matter who they are. Lil Kim, send the squad. She's gonna rep for Bed-Stuy. She's gonna rep for Brooklyn.
I like it.
The other one that I think would be good for the culture, and you know I gotta say his name, J. Cole and Kendrick.
Oh my gosh.
I want to see that because that would be a concert. I want to see J. Cole and Kendrick.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
I'm with you. No pushback, no debate, no nothing.
Honestly, this is probably one of those questions that a lot of people are going to come up with a lot of different.
Oh, completely.
Let's see. Those are mine. I'm sure that there are so many others.
Say them one more time because they were so beautiful. Say them again.
What we got? I want to see Nas and Jay-Z because since we've seen them go at each other, there's a lot of growth. And there's a lot of things that have changed, right? So I want to see that. I want to see Lil Kim versus the world. Anybody who want to pull up, right? Brooklyn all day. Bullet all day, right? She's ready for it. And then J. Cole, Kendrick. That would be dope. What about you, sir?
That's so good. That's so good. You know, I think I'm still in the Beanie Man Bounty Killer space.
Mm.
I couldn't help but thinking like Wayne Wonder versus Shaggy, right? Like that's a good part two
Yes.
of this one.
Yes. Those are smash hits, man.
Exactly, and it's exactly because like these two, they had hits, but those other two had another different type of hit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not crossover per se, but it's crossover in its own little way. So that came to mind. Like as I was listening, I was like, oh man, I would love to see, because Wayne Wonder is like really good. Like Wayne
Mm-hmm.
Wonder
Mm-hmm.
really drops it. The saddest day of my life, it goes in,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Mm-hmm.
just keeps going on. And then Shaggy, is a whole nother something. So I think bringing the two of them to the front would be really, really, really.
It would be a party. It would be a party.
Oh, it'd be a party.
It's something for everybody.
Be a
You're
party.
gonna be dancing. You're gonna be whining. You're gonna be laughing, slapping fives.
Forget about it. Like, oh, that's my jam, And it'll be, and they're funny. It'll be funny.
Yes.
It'll be funny. So then I would say, I think about because you have so much hip hop. I'm gonna go in a little different direction. Okay. And I've been thinking about this when I just got it. I want Jamie Foxx on Keith Sweat. Exactly. Because they both have real distinct sound. I want Keith got to start. Keith either has to start or end with nobody. Whoa. Mm-hmm. And then Jamie, Jamie doesn't have as many hits, but Jamie can drop and sing so much stuff that it'll probably turn more into Jamie interviewing Keith Sweat. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really interesting. Mm-hmm. And then, to bring it to the ladies, I really feel like, and this will never happen, but I can dream. Patti LaBelle.
Uh-oh.
Exactly. Maybe it's like the Little Kim thing, but I can't, because I was thinking Patti LaBelle, Diana Ross, but it'll be like a pelican against a mouse in terms of like the sound, not the ability, but I think just some sort of, we need a love fest in that space. I think about when Aretha Franklin died, I was like, where is Diana and Dion and Patty? Like, how come y'all ain't like up in there? Not that they have to be, but a matter of terms of like the history that we have and the world we live in and all things we think about and want. It's almost like a selfish, like, I want to see this like circle closed. It makes sense because y'all are some leaders that have established so much and led things to us. But those would be there are many, many, many more. Those would be my three. I think.
So remind us again.
We got to start with
got Wayne Wonder
versus Shaggy. Let's get that in there to get that like pop sound, but still has like the elements of it. And then we got Jamie Foxx and Keith Sweat.
Yes, sir.
No. And then I'll stick with Patti LaBelle and Diana Ross.
Okay, those are solid, man. I can't disagree. Those are real solid choices. I'd be front row, ready for all of them. Make sure my Bluetooth speaker is ready. So make sure it's charged up.
And they got to do it right. We've seen some situations where it's just like,
and the culture has been calling for. This is what the culture's been calling for. John Legend and Alicia Keys.
Wow.
So dueling pianos.
Wow.
The culture's been calling for that.
This is not going to sound kind, but I don't know but I don't know. I don't know. I've worked with Alicia Keys at one concert. I've been at a party with John Legend.
Brother, what have you not done?
I've been hustling so I can stand here next to you. Come on. And I was remember the BET Awards where Suge Knight rolled up?
Yes.
I was the producer on that. I was up in there like, what's happening? Just like not like the producer, but like one of the producers, a little lowly producer trying to make things happen. And I remember when Alicia Keys came to rehearse, her mother was like, everybody got to leave. We were in this hangar in Los Angeles, and we all had to go because Alicia was like, no one in my rehearsal. It was amazing. And I remember when Suge showed up, I was like, yo, Suge Knight just walked in. And it was like, okay, we're going to see what happened within 20 minutes. But she didn't go on stage because that happened before the fight. And then John Legend, I was just at a party with him in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And he was great. This is when he first started dating
Chrissy Teigen.
Thank you. And they were in at this table just canoeing the whole time. I was like, look at those two. Anyhow, I don't know if they are piano players.
Got you. I got you.
I know they are accompanist to their music. But I may be wrong. I may be dead wrong. But I feel like in that moment, I wouldn't, but I don't know. I feel like, I mean, at least they both did music they were little. So I don't know. I'm going to stop. But I like that. I like that contrast.
Get it popping, they accompany themselves, blah, blah. If they had like a three-way joint, I'd love to see John Legend, Alicia Keys, and Jamie Foxx go at it.
Yeah, there you go.
That could be something because they're performers. They got the music, they got the songs, and that can make happen. But here's my question for you, because there's some people who I know I want to see them, but I don't know who is a formidable person to put up against them.
I got one of those. I got one of those. But go ahead.
Because I'm thinking about well, not two people, but two in particular. Stevie Wonder.
Exactly.
Who? What? Who? Stevie Wonder versus Stevie Wonder? Yeah. So in Club Quarantine, somebody was like, we can't do a versus with Stevie Wonder. It's gonna have to be Stevie Wonder versus Stevie Wonder. It's
exactly.
Like Stevie Wonder versus 80s Stevie Wonder. Like
little Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, exactly. You got to go through his catalog. Like before he had the little dreads with the bead, you're gonna have to go through his whole catalog. But the other group I would say, the Roots versus who? I'm just thinking about that. It's like
I know. It's funny. I went to the Barge from the 80s.
Okay.
But they're not playing music. They're singing it from the music. So that knocks it out. You know who the Roots would I got you. The Roots versus Fishbone.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be like a little moment of like, okay, what's going on?
Okay.
What's going on? That could knock it out. But it's not perfect. It's like a fit. It's like, okay, well, somebody got to do it. So it's a little bit. I see that. That's a good one. But yeah, Stevie is just Stevie. That's it.
And for the culture, Wu-Tang versus
Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang versus Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang versus Bone Thugs.
Oh.
Wu-Tang versus Bone Thugs. That'll be a trip, man.
Oh, the screen is not big enough. It had to be like 10 iPhones set up in a circle, and like 3D it. The screen's up here. That's good.
Yo,
I would love to see that. I would love to see that. That's good. That's really good. That's good. Yeah, I'm stuck in all three of those. I thought like another kind of like a Stevie is, if he was still with us, a Prince. Who'd you put against Prince?
Oof.
Don't say Morris Day, because we saw that movie.
No.
We saw that movie.
Against Prince. Ooh.
Yeah. Because he would just bring everybody in, like, now you're part of the revolution. Come over here.
Lenny Kravitz? Dueling guitarists? Like, who do you like? Who like?
Yeah.
It's Prince.
Yeah, you just bow down. What do I do? Tell me to do, sir. and like on the female version of that, I think it's doable, but I don't know who. This may be with the Roots. Sheila E.
Oh, okay.
Her band. That might be a good one with the Roots.
Okay.
You know, or maybe like, oh, Sheila E. and Questlove. There you go. There you
I
go.
think you on to something.
That would be it.
I think you on to something.
We had to weed through the city to get to that one.
Oh my goodness. That would be something.
Be hot. That would be so hot.
That
And they both like just going.
Just going. Going. That would be
Mm.
something. I like that. This is listen, this is a question that can go on forever.
I know completely.
I love this question. I really do love this question. I'm starting to think about so many other folks. Like I'm really starting to think about it. And man, like who else? Who else is out there? Because I'm thinking about like some old school R&B groups. Because one of the questions I wanted to ask you though, and it's reminding me because it's one of the questions from before. What is or what was the best R&B group? Like the best group, like because I'm thinking about you have Candy Burris who just won the Masked Singer from Escape, right? And then you think about the golden age of R&B. You had SWB, you had Escape, you had other groups like 702, you had Black, you had 112, you had Jagged Edge, you had
Casey and JoJo.
Casey and JoJo. All the Jodeci. All like it's just like
Boyz II Men.
Jodeci versus Boyz II Men. That would be a crazy one.
There you go.
That'd be a crazy one.
There you go. Who would EPMD be against?
I don't know.
Yeah, right?
I don't know.
Exactly. KRS One, but that's too close.
That is really tough. So this is another way of seeing, like really viewing the talent that we have, that we've been exposed to, and revisiting the genius of all these artists. Because it's like just thinking about who would you pair them up against, who has not even the similar style, but something that can complement or even combat with some of these artists or some of these groups, man. Wow.
Yeah, and that question you raised, the best R&B group, I'm still stuck in that. Like, it's tough. I'm never good with the best anything. So I'm like, well, my best thing today is. So is my answer, but I don't know how I would answer that one. It just. Yeah, and it's so in terms of to tie this to your question earlier about being in touch with people. Are you finding that you're digging more for? It's happened to me. Maybe this is a question for me or a statement for me. Songs are just coming to me, and I need to hear them.
I think you're absolutely right.
It's popping in my head. Like I need to hear. Like the other day, I was like, I need to hear that Casey and JoJo song, that All My Life. I need to hear that right now. Right now. Right. Went and played it.
Absolutely right. Because I think the more and more you connect with people, it might remind you of where you've been, the things you've been through. And like for me, like this, if you were to have a soundtrack to your life, I'm sure you could come up with a number of different songs that remind you of certain places.
Oh yeah.
We talk about names for autobiographies and memoirs, but if you had like a 20-song playlist for your life, I'm sure you could come up with some songs that really got you through some times or things that remind you of certain people in your life, etc. So yes, the same thing has been coming up to me, particularly when we have some of these verses times and we're listening to these people. I'm like, oh, I remember that song, and that reminds me of another song because it reminds me of a time period. It reminds me of that time when I was over there. So yeah, 100%. 100%.
What do you think this versus world is going to look like post Rona?
I hope it looks like us getting back to real art form of music, camaraderie, and challenge. So when you have artistry where you're really doing it for the music and it's feel-good music, because in some spaces this kind of removes the industry stuff, right? And it gets back to like the goodness of we're making music.
It's just the people.
Fun. It's the people, the love, it's the camaraderie, it's the challenge. It's like if you and I are having conversations right now, we're having conversations out of love, out of challenge, out of critique, out of wrestling with ideas. That's a love piece. But if we took this same platform and said, okay, we're doing speech and debate, you versus you, it's totally different. That's kind of what the industry can be.
Mm-hmm.
Like one person has to win.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we call it versus, like you said, but who's winning? There's no winner or loser. You can sit there and say, oh, I think Beanie Man won, or I think Bobby Killer won. But the people who are really winning are the consumers who are watching this. And it's not like some nonsense beef where folks are like getting their lives threatened, or folks are like losing their livelihood.
Yeah.
We're all getting together.
Losing their lives.
Losing their lives. Losing their lives. We're all looking at each other and witnessing just the artistry, how talented and genius these folks are. So what I hope to see is that this creates space for some people to say, you know what, let's put our egos aside and let's tour together. Or let's put our egos aside and let's do a record together. Let's put our egos aside and let's do this concert together. And also thinking about, okay, maybe everybody can't go to Madison Square Garden to buy a ticket, but there are some people who can be there, and there are some people who can afford to be there. But what type of platform can I give people for free on live, on Instagram, that gives you that experience? So how are we going to challenge ourselves to continue to share all this goodness after this time and still have folks be able to get paid for what they deserve to get paid for? But how do we make sure that we can continue to do this the way we've been doing during this time that's unprecedented?
Yeah, because it's healing and it's working. Art heals and it's so comfortable. I mean, I don't know about you, but since Wednesday, I've been like, yo, Saturday night. Saturday night. You know? And not, also it's kind of thing where a lot of these songs, for me, a lot of the songs have been like, I can't wait to get to the party to hear that song again. Because I don't know how to be like, can you play? I remember the way I figured out Wayne Wonder, I was like, what's that song? The saddest day of my life. And I had to get people to tell me, oh, that's Wayne Wonder. And I'm like, okay, what's that song again? Because it's not, for me, and more so with Bonnie Kill and Beanie Man, it's another language that I kind of understand. So from my way of research, and also when we think about it, when they first came out, it wasn't Spotify.
Right.
It wasn't Apple Music.
Right.
It was like, DJ, yo, what's the name of that song? What? Like in the club. Or some people, or some, and this is a transition, I think, with that we're talking about. What I love, we're talking about a democratizing of entertainment and music. I don't know about you. I've talked to a few DJs, and they don't want to tell you everything because they want you to come back and get what they have. In the past is what I found. So it was powerful to be able to like, okay, I'm gonna find this on my own and get this. So I think last night for me was, and also I think about when Shazam first started. It was the real first way to be like, okay, I got this track, this tune, and maybe it's just me, but things just felt a little out of touch and out of place. I didn't have a scheme to get into stuff besides asking people 1,000 times and then getting on my nerves. I mean, that's my learning skills and development. But I like now that I have Alexa, and I'm Alexa, play that song where they say all my life, because I don't remember right away. It was mine. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right, that's who it is, So
that's real. What I appreciate is that this Verzuz, if people know about it, it's bridging the cultural not even cultural divide. It's bridging the generational divide.
Yes.
Where you have folks who are very familiar and well versed with Instagram, who are now being exposed and have access to some of the greats, some of the legends that they otherwise wouldn't be checking for.
Exactly.
And it's like, if you are a new artist or up and coming artist or someone who's of this current generation, you better be on your P's and Q's, because these folks are really showing y'all how it's done.
And let's and on that note, and this has been my trouble with who gets like attention and success. We're seeing the people that have natural raw talent doing this.
Yep.
I could never imagine Ice Baby. What's his name?
Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice. I could never imagine Vanilla Ice doing a battle or versus with anything or anything.
He'll do that for 2 hours.
Could he say he would? Oh yeah.
For 2 hours, that's it, straight.
That's it. That's all he got. That's all he got. That's all he got. And so when I think about, right, what is successful and what is, like, these verses are not pop culture. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're not pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
And because pop culture is just that, pop.
Yep.
You can't be pop culture no verses. You know, you have to have some depth and some performance and some
talent.
And talent.
Real talent.
Real talent. Real talent. You know, and I just, you know, I know people have been like doing a song, but this is such a moment of like, it's so us. I can't really speak to it, but I haven't followed any verses, but I haven't heard anybody. I haven't heard, and I ain't slamming nobody, but I haven't heard, I can't even get her name, not Katy Perry, but the other one, who's very, very, very popular singer.
Taylor Swift?
Yes. I haven't heard of Taylor Swift verses. Have you?
No.
Exactly. Not that I will watch it, but no offense to anybody. But I'm saying, I can't imagine her coming on and having 2 hours of what we're seeing with like Badu and all of them. And it being something that grabs you. Am I overstepping?
Not at all. Not at all. Because my thing is this. If we look at the historical context of what she has done, because we saw Beyonce do Baychella, and then what people were referring to as Taylor Swift's version of Mayochella, which I won't get into. They're referring to that. So when we see that, I think if you talk about the cultural appropriation, the verses is going to change into against.
Yeah.
We're going to have against.
Oh my God. I see it coming. I see it coming.
Oh. Are you watching Against tonight? We're going to watch Against. It's such and such versus such and such. Well, not versus. Against such and such.
It's coming.
So, you know what I mean? It's just like, how long can it last?
It's coming. They like locusts. They come in. Woo! Oh my gosh. That was a good conversation, young man. I appreciated that. I've needed that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's, you know, and maybe it's already here. We just haven't seen it.
Yeah, we ain't missing nothing.
Not at all. Not because I will never forget. After Beyonce ripped Coachella with her whole HBCU paying homage to blah blah blah, like killed it. We had Mayochella, where was folks coming out in all pink and blah, blah. I think it was Ohio State University, maybe their band. And it's not the same, boo-boo.
No,
it's not the same.
Not at all. It's how America functions and what we do. The moment for me with Beyonce's Coachella was when she said, "I'm the first Black woman to headline Coachella. Ain't that a bitch?" Yes. Like I was like, was that approved in rehearsal? Like, how did that come into place? And yay.
And it's like, if you hold what she did up,
exactly,
versus what Swiftie, Taylor Swift tried to replicate, duplicate, emulate, it does not equate at all.
No. And what I try and get people to do is, I want people to think about what's inside of them. They can't see that. Because it's not about preference in terms when I think about, it may be about preference, but it's like, what's inside of you that you don't appreciate excellence and move to this because you're more comfortable with it. Like we as a culture, and this brings up to really great, we as a culture constantly deal with stuff that we're not comfortable with because we have to. But when you have the choice, and it's not life or death, or messing with your money, or et cetera, and you choose to go to the latter because it feels more comfortable, that is a real particular choice. It's a privilege to make that choice. And it hurts and it's problematic when you see like major talent just showing up and doing it 1,000% and they don't get to have the same exposure, the same access. That is wrapped up in as old as this country in terms of exclusion and an effort to oppress and keeping people down. And I get so frustrated. I'm like, why? People don't seem to realize this is a modern version of exclusion and putting people down and trying to keep people back. You know? That's why I really appreciate the Hive, who's like, don't even try and come forward.
Talk about it. Yep.
We will destroy you. Like, we didn't want to hear it. Yeah, she fell, but look how she fell. It was amazing. Like, they will be all over you.
Yep.
All over you.
Well, listen, like, honestly, I'm so appreciative of that question. I know we have to wrap up, but I'm so appreciative of that question. And here's one thing that I want to leave us with to think about. What other spaces can we incorporate this Verzuz? Because I'm thinking about like a people of color conference. Think about a diversity conference where you can get some folks up there who got some stuff to say. Like, you think about some of the greats. Because it reminds me of, you got Booker T. Washington, W.B. Du Bois, you got Marcus Garvey, you got all these folks who are talking about
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X. You talk about all these people, all these folks. Like, how are we getting it done? Let's hear each other out, their body of work, their perspective, their approach, their vision. How do we get that in there so we can be exposed to people's genius? But it's not just because it's a binary or a dichotomy or whatever. It's about seeing how two people can come together, maybe disagree, maybe have different styles, maybe have different sensibilities and different sense of opinion. But how do we make sure that we're getting all of it out there for people to wrestle with, think about, and say, you know what? That was dope, but that line was dope, but that line was dope. So I wonder what other spaces we can like treat in a similar way where we start to train our minds to think about, okay, I always wrote off for Beanie Man, but now that I see Bounty Killer, okay. I always listen to Jill Scott, but Erykah Badu is just really exposing us to other things that we might not necessarily have access to or even seek out for ourselves.
I love that. That's a great closing point. That's fantastic. And I'll connect that with the way that the Beanie Man closed out the Verzuz, between like bringing his baby out,
my goodness,
and offering up a prayer.
My goodness.
Because like, if you're Jewish, to this God. If you're Muslim, and he just went through the list. He said, but what I go to, the Rastafari Most High, and I was like, wow, this is amazing.
That's real.
It was amazing, and also grown folks. Like, it was like, oh, you're grown. When you was coming out with all this stuff earlier, it was a boy, like you got a child, you got a life, you got perspective, you got to step back, and that's probably a moment that was able to bring them together, which takes me back to your J. Cole and Nas.
J. Cole and Kendrick.
Excuse me, Kendrick. I'm mixing up my folks.
Although J. Cole and Nas would be dope.
I know. Well, but
that would be dope.
It would, but I think it's more J. Cole and Kendrick. And I don't know if we need to see that now or in 10 years.
I hear you.
We will talk about this all night.
That's deep. I hear that.
This is good.
Well, salute to you, brother, for that question, man.
Oh, please. My pleasure. My absolute pleasure. Salute to you for having such dynamic and powerful answers and thoughts.
Appreciate you. So, let's take one last sip for all the folks who are doing it for the community, especially during this time, man.
Right on. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Another one in the books.
Another one. Sound like we're about to start to sound like DJ Khaled. Another one.
Exactly.
Another one.
Exactly.
Like in these DJ verses out here, you know what I mean?
I know. See, I was about to say Kali versus who, but it'll take us another.
Listen, we're gonna have to do one full show just throwing things at each other.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. All right. Well, till next time, Ground Juice Barbershop.
The place to be.
All day, every day. We'll holler.
Peace. Take it easy.